Escape the room. Also known as room escape or escape game, is a subgenre of the point-and-click adventure game which requires a player to escape from imprisonment by exploiting their surroundings. The room usually consists of a locked door, objects to manipulate, and hidden clues or secret compartments. Most escape the room games are played from a first-person perspective, where the player must click on objects to interact with them. Most room escape games offer only token plots, usually a short cutscene consisting of only text to establish how the player got there, and sometimes when the game is finished. Room escapes usually have a minimalistic interface, ambient soundtrack, and no non-player characters, and these elements can enhance the gamer's sense of isolation. During gameplay, the player must click on objects to either interact with them or add them to their inventory. As the player passes the mouse over the game screen, usually the mouse cursor will change shape, example to a hand or different kind of arrow if the item under the cursor can be used, opened, manipulated, collected, searched, or followed in the case of an exit. Although some games do not provide such hints to the player. If the object cannot be collected, opened, used, or manipulated, the player is usually assumed to be inspecting it. In most cases, the player will see a brief text description. The player must collect items and use them with various objects or other items in the inventory to find a way to get out of the room. Some games require the player to solve several rooms in succession. Some require significant amounts of pixel hunting, which are just tedious search for a small clickable area, which can of course frustrate players. Escape the room games were born out of free web browser games created in Adobe Flash, but have since become most popular as mobile games for iOS and Android, and the popularity of these online games has led to the development of real-life escape rooms all over the world. The escape rooms, also known as an escape game, puzzle room, exit game, or redo room, is a room meant for games, fun, and entertainment, where participants are generally locked in a room or any other enclosed setting and must solve a series of puzzles or discover clues to help them accomplish different set of tasks in a limited amount of time while navigating between different rooms to find a key that would lead them to escaping the horror room. The real-life escape games played within the escape rooms normally require cooperative teamwork, although some of these games can also be done competitively among the players. The game locations often come in a variety of fictional locations, whether it be a room constructed to look like a prison, or a dungeon, or space station. The game begins with a brief introduction to the rules of the game and how to win. But well-designed escape room puzzles don't require players to have expert knowledge in any particular field, as any specialized or little-known information required to solve a puzzle should be obtainable within the room itself. Escape room puzzles include word games, numbers, and arranging things into patterns, such as substitution ciphers, riddles, crosswords, Sudoku, word search, and mathematics. Puzzles involving physical objects such as jigsaw puzzles, matchstick puzzles, and chess, and physical activities such as searching for a hidden physical object, assembling an object, navigating mazes, or undoing a rope knot, and many more. At this point, I think you get the idea. Some of these rooms come only with the games and puzzles or tasks to be completed typically within 45 to 60 minutes, as players work together to find answers and solutions to the different problems. One can say it's an intellectually stimulating game which tests the problem solving, lateral thinking, and teamwork skills of participants, by providing a variety of puzzles and challenges that unlock access to new items or areas in the game when solved. However, there are horror-based escape rooms that do incorporate an element of spookiness by trying to catch players unawares with secretly planted individuals whose role is to sneak up on the players as they all focus on finding answers to a particular task. You know, just for fun. In those horror variants, we can see something like this. If you've ever watched the psychological horror thriller, The Escape Room, you would know what the movie is all about. Even if you haven't, you might have likely taken a correct guess on what the movie might entail. I'm not going to give too much away to avoid spoiling the movie for those who haven't watched it yet. All I have to say is that the movies were well produced and the stuff of nightmare, especially for those who are claustrophobic. The 2017 movie tells the story of 4 friends who came to partake in a popular escape room in Los Angeles. However, they found themselves stuck with a demonically possessed killer and with less than an hour to solve the puzzles needed to help them escape the room alive. The 2019 version of the movie tells the story of 6 strangers who had come to play the game for a chance to win $10,000 each if they managed to successfully escape the rooms. However, they found themselves in circumstances beyond their control within the different escape rooms and must use their wits to survive the deadly ordeal. The 2019 sequel tells the story of 6 people who unknowingly found themselves locked in another series of escape rooms, slowly uncovering what they had in common, and as they discovered all the games they had played before, they had to fight for their lives. The escape games were thought to have begun in Japan about a decade ago, before spreading to China, then to the rest of Asia, and with Hungary opening their first in 2011 in what was believed to be the first escape room in Europe.
You ready to get trapped?
Yeah.
Yes, you can move. Please, this way. 4 symbols to open the door. They are hiding somewhere in the room. The way you're gonna find them is to solving the task. Good luck.
It wasn't until 2012 that the first US escape room opened up. In the United Kingdom, the number of escape rooms rose from just 7 in 2013 to more than 1,000 as of speaking, or even more. It is estimated that there are around 1,000 in Poland, if not more, with Budapest being one of the world's hubs for the genre. In some African countries like Nigeria, Kenya and South Africa, there are also some of these phone-based escape rooms. These rooms are now a popular way to spend time with friends and colleagues, and they continue to go from strength to strength in all corners of the world. In recent years, the industry has grown rapidly while attracting more people who wish to enjoy the live action experience. What could possibly go wrong? In today's story, we are going to look at a true life horror story that happened within an escape room and what went wrong, and with the resulting actions taken to avoid any potential disaster. But before I get into the story, if you're a lover of disturbing, dark and mysteriously spooky true life horror stories, then you might consider subscribing to our channel, turn on all post notifications and hit that like button. And with that said, let's get straight into today's story. This story takes place in Koszalin, located in northern Poland. The escape room as a form of entertainment has been growing in Poland over the past 10 years. Regarded as an intellectual challenge, the escape room games are highly popular among teenagers in Poland. Living in Poland were Karolina Barabas, Victoria Julia Pietras, Gosia and Amelia, all of whom were born in 2003. In early 2019, there were 15-year-old Polish girls who attended the same 9th grade class in school and were said to be very good friends. To know how close they were, I had to dig into their Facebook pages, where I discovered that the group normally posed and tagged each other in multiple pictures on Facebook and with comments to appreciate and show love to one another. For example, in a post from Amelia, she would share a picture of them together, while the likes of Victoria and Carolina were always there to show support. They were really a young squad. Other posts from each of the friends showed young girls who could be described as loving and cheerful towards one another in a world that can be full of hate and malice. In fact, one of the fathers would later say that seeing them and knowing them, one could envy their friendship. On the Friday afternoon, the 4th of January 2019, the girls would arrive at a private house in Koszalin. On arriving at the house, the 4 teenagers would have seen a moderately sized 2-storied house, which was painted white and deep red in color, and with a sign that leads into the main house. They had come there to celebrate the birthday of another friend and classmate, a 5th teenage girl known as Julka, who was about to turn 16. And they had decided to do something more interesting on this occasion than just a party at home or in the city. It would turn out that the private house where they had intended to have a good day contained an escape room. That was the sign they had seen earlier on arriving. The 5 teenage girls had planned to celebrate Julka's birthday by playing games within the rooms, and after they had made their way to the house, they met with some of the organizers and employees who worked within that private house. After some moments of figuring out the arrangements and getting each set of instructions needed for the game to be played, they made their way inside one of the rooms. Now, it's not sure what set of games they started playing with, since the escape room was located within a private house. However, the following video I'm going to show you next would show the likely set of games they might have been playing before the horrific chain of events that happened next. During the moment of playing the game and few minutes of still within solving clues to escape one of the rooms into another room within the escape room, the girls would notice that they were beginning to feel unwell, and they would start yelling on their lungs, screaming for help, banging on the doors, and within a few minutes, the girls started feeling weak with a slight headache. There was confusion as their vision became blurred within the room. Then a severe headache followed, including drowsiness, lack of muscle control, and eventually loss of consciousness. One of the employees would call the emergency services to come help break down the locked door, and it would be more than 15 minutes that the fire crew would arrive and help break down the door. And when they did so, they had found the 5 young ladies lying there unresponsive. They even checked for their pulse and heartbeat. It was at that moment that they would make the chilling discovery that they had passed away. All 5 of the girls, including the birthday celebrants, they died within minutes of losing consciousness because of what was later confirmed to be carbon monoxide asphyxiation due to inhaling large amounts of carbon monoxide gas. Carbon monoxide is produced as a byproduct of burning fuels, including gas wood, propane, or charcoal, and it has no odor, taste, or color. Carbon monoxide poisoning occurs when the carbon monoxide gas builds up in the blood, and when the gas is in the air, the body begins to replace the oxygen in the human red blood cells with this gas. In a tightly enclosed space, the buildup of this poisonous gas can become worse. This toxic gas mostly targets the brain and the heart. In a lethal dose, when inhaled, can cause tissue damage, and a toxic dose of inhalation could lead to death. Just in case you are listening to this story and you are wondering, how did it happen? It would turn out that few minutes of these girls still within the game room, one of the employees within the house would find out that one of the cylinders being used for the heating system was making some sort of strange noises. He then approached it and tried to find out what had happened. He then decided to turn off the cylinder. However, that didn't help. At the same time of still trying to figure out where these strange noises were coming from and how to stop it, a fire broke out in the detached house that was being used as a reception office for the entertainment room, and it began to spread rapidly as the gas vapors in the room ignited. Unfortunately, the reception room where this fire broke out was adjacent to the rooms where these girls were, and with the CO gas from the smoke making its way into the little openings and gaps in the door of this escape room, which was just a 7-meter wide enclosed space. To make matters worse, there was no proper ventilation within that room for fresh air, and this made the gas to build up to dangerous levels, which these girls continued to breathe in. as the gas from the other room where the fire was burning continued to seep into the room. After being exposed for so long in what was a slow, confusing and infinite pain, it would have been a matter of several minutes before they eventually lost consciousness and then tragically died. It wasn't a quick death. The fire that started had also blocked the 26-year-old employee from gaining access to help the girls trapped in the room. The man would not escape, but tried his best to save the trapped teenagers. Now, it was not known as to why he didn't use the fire extinguishers, although it would later be said that the fire extinguishers were beyond his reach, and with the fire standing between him and the door of the escape room where the girls were locked within, there was nothing much he could have done, or he risked losing his own life as the fire continued to grow bigger. His attempt even proved costly, as he would be severely burnt and hospitalized. During the investigation into what had caused the fire, it was revealed that a gas container inside a heater within that adjacent room caught fire after it started to leak, which ultimately sparked the blaze. Hence, that gas cylinder, which the employee had noticed making some strange noises, was faulty, and it had possibly been like that for a while. It would also turn out that escape rooms in this private house where these girls had come to celebrate the day had no effective emergency evacuation route, which should have served as a safe means of escape should there be any sort of danger. This was one of the major reasons behind them losing their lives, as all escape rooms are always required to have an exit for emergencies, or should a player start feeling not too well. Now remember, this is real life and not a movie. Not only did the escape room not have proper emergency evacuation exits, but also the heating system was found to be faulty. The makeshift electrical wiring was found to be too close to flammable materials. Security was also not ensured in case of any danger within the claustrophobic space. All these factors made that private house a ticking time bomb. It had just been a matter of when the detonation would take place. Unfortunately, it did so when people were present in what was meant to be a safe setting. It was by 5 p.m. that day, after the fire crews had been called and alerted of the danger, that they had to fight their way in, only to discover that the room which was adjacent to the room where the girls were playing the game was where a fire had started. The firefighters would immediately begin to work on putting out the blaze. After several minutes of putting out the fire, then using specialized equipment, they proceeded to break into the room where the girls had been locked in. It was there that they had found the girls unresponsive. With the aftermath of the resulting tragedy, in a story that shocked the country of Poland, prosecutors in northern Poland detained and brought charges against a 28-year-old man known only by the name of Miłosz, who designed and ran the escape room entertainment site where the 5 teenage girls had died. He would be charged with intentionally creating a fire danger and unintentionally causing the death of the girls. It would be revealed that his grandmother had formerly rented the building from his owner for the purpose of using those rooms for the games, but that was before Miłosz took over the design of the business. It would also be revealed that some people had previously posted critical remarks online about the safety of that particular escape room, but local officials weren't notified. However, after the horrific tragedy, more people were now asked to report such lapses to the firefighters and police. The school which the teenagers attended would counsel and support their friends and teachers, while officials extended psychological and other support to the families of the girls. Over the following days, the Poland government would order fire safety inspections at more than 1,000 escape room locations across the country. The authorities on checking the country's many escape rooms would discover several safety flaws in more than 200 of such entertainment rooms, which could have imposed the same danger and which needed to be immediately fixed. 13 of such rooms which imposed greater risk would also be closed down following that revelation. The Prime Minister of the country, who called the girls' death an immense tragedy, would also hold a meeting in which they discussed with other officials around the country on ways of improving safety at such entertainment venues. In honor of the girls, a bishop of a church would lead public prayers in front of the house where the tragedy occurred, while Sunday, the 6th of January 2019, was declared a day of mourning in Poland as people left hundreds of lights, toys, and white flowers by the fence in an act of tribute to these teenagers who had their lives taken away due to human negligence in what was supposed to be a moment of fun. They just wanted to have fun. The escape room, however, turned out to be a real-life death trap. On the 10th of January 2019, 6 days after the tragedy, the 5 girls would be buried in a cemetery. They would be buried close to one another.